Welcome back to your favorite podcast, Deac2Deac. In this episode, we're going to cover part two of my wonderful and engaging conversation with Wake Forest Hall of Famer and Super Bowl champion, Bob Grant. Bob Grant is going to talk about his life as a trailblazer, coming to Wake Forest, playing with such great NFL players like Bubba Smith and Johnny Unitas, plus much, much more. Take a listen, and as always, go Deacs. Now, it must have, not that it must have, it did work uh, because it worked so well to you later became a second round draft pick by the team that you had dreamed of playing for. Uh, I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about that experience, if you don't mind. What was it like uh, during that time period to get that call to be a second round draft pick? I mean, by the Baltimore Colts. I mean, was Johnny Unitas with them at that time?
Yeah.
So, like, was there a lot of fanfare around it? I mean, you're getting drafted by this, at the time, I mean, this well-known franchise with this great player. What was that experience like to get that call?
Baltimore had come to see me one time through my entire college career. The Raiders, Kansas City, Green Bay, Atlanta, and even the Rams, they visited me all during my college career. The Baltimore Colts came to see me one time. I thought Cowboys. I thought that I was going to go to the Cowboys or the Raiders. I thought they were going to draft me. And I was drafted number 50, the 50th player drafted. I think says second defensive player drafted out of the major universities in the South that year. As a matter of fact, I knew I was the second defensive player out of the SEC or the ACC because of what my teammates and my coaches had allowed me to do and it helped me to do. When I got the call, Baltimore Colts, thinking, okay, all right. Well, Mike Curtis from Duke is still there. Mike's like, you're one heck of a ball player. We're going to be okay. And God, that's who I wanted to play for since I was a little kid. The wild part of the story, Kevin, on my grandkids' heads, whom you will meet in a few weeks, was I went back down to the coast to our house. And of course, there were a lot of people in the neighborhood there then. Some of my white fans were there too. It wasn't a party, just everybody in the front yard hanging out on the porch and stuff. Mama was in a wheelchair by then. So we went in and I went down because I wanted to buy them a color television set. They had never had a color television set, and there were not many color television shows on television then. And I wanted to get them a new car.
Oh, wow.
So I'm standing in the living room and she says, wait, I'll be right back. Because I told you my people were shaman, and a lot of people would say, oh, that stuff, it doesn't make your work. My people were really were shaman. The medical doctors came to my parents to mix up potions for their patients and stuff during that time. She rolled a wheelchair back into her bedroom and she rolled back out. She had a big family Bible. And I'm kind of thinking that was wrapped in red and white ribbons, with a bow tied on it. And she says, come here, let me show you something. When I was 8 years old, I had taken some pictures and sent them off to Chapel Hill to be developed to the Greyhound Photo Service. I had to put them in the mail, wait 2 weeks to get them back. I'd taken some pictures of myself and a couple of other guys, kids in my neighborhood, down in football stances and stuff. And on the back of 2 of the pictures, back then in, that would have been 53, 54, I had written Robert Grant, Baltimore Colts.
Wow.
She took the pictures. She put those pictures in that family Bible. And I didn't pay much attention. I remember her doing it, but I never thought anything more about it. She opened the Bible and took the pictures out and says, did you get what you wanted? And man, I got to tell you, I was just stunned. You know, faith and things that come from the spiritual world are amazing.
And, oh, go ahead.
I can't explain it. I can't explain it, but I was destined to go where I went long before I was even qualified to go.
Now, you got there, you made major impacts. I mean, you went to 2 Super Bowls, and Super Bowl III and Super Bowl V. And in Super Bowl III, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if my information is inaccurate, that was the first championship that was marketed as the Super Bowl.
I think so. We were just calling it the championship game, but before then, and Green Bay and Kansas City had been there. But with that for Super Bowl III, I played most of the season, then I was injured. So I was there, but I did not suit up for Super Bowl III. And I'm glad that I didn't either. Boy, the Jets put a whipping on us. They were Joe and those guys. They put a whipping on us that afternoon, there. But I was active. I became the starter the next year.
What was it like playing with teammates like Johnny Unitas?
It was a different time. And there was still some division, even in the NFL, et cetera. America was still divided like a little bit, but with teammates, we played together. We were friends. When practice was over, they went their way, we went our way, et cetera. But we were teammates. And we were friends. Unitas was amazing. I asked him once on a plane, the first year that I was there, we were going out to play the Raiders in an exhibition game, and we would charter the entire plane so that each one of our players would have 3 seats. Their owners, at that time, the owners would be on the plane, the newspaper guys would be on the plane, some Italian guys with connections might even be on the plane with the owners of the teams.
The special interest group.
Yeah. But I was walking by And during training camp, all the way through training camp, I had really kind of tried to stop it, tried to avoid having eye contact with Unitas because John Unitas, I mean, not intentionally, but John Unitas could get you cut if you were a linebacker or a defensive back.
Mm.
He could complete passes. He was doing Patrick Mahomes stuff. He could before he did. He would close his eyes in practice like he'll sometimes and complete the pass. Take the snap, drop all the way like he'll back, eyes closed and stuff like he'll that, and complete the pass. Deep patterns, short patterns. But we're on the plane, and I'm coming by, and thank goodness he hadn't punished me any more than he punished anybody else in practice completing too many passes there. So I'm walking by. Got to remember, he had been one of my childhood heroes, winning the championship in 58 and 59. So he's sitting in the seat by himself, and I'm walking by, and I went by, and then I stopped. I came back, and I says, John, do you mind if I ask you a question? And he looked at me, he says, no, sit down. Oh man, I didn't want to sit down. I'm a rookie. Don't sit down. I kind of sit there. And with what I wanted to say, it came out all wrong. I said, well, what does it feel to be Johnny? I'd like to be Johnny Unitas. And as soon as I said it, I thought, that didn't come out right. Even a fan wouldn't say that way. He looked at me, he started laughing, and excuse me, he says, I knew what you mean. He said, well, he said, really, I'm just, John Unitas, to my parents, I was just Johnny. To my wife, I'm just like, John.
Mm-hmm.
He says, like, Johnny Unitas says, he says, kind of like how Superman goes into the phone booth and comes out in his Superman suit on. He says, that Johnny Unitas that you're talking about, he said, that's just my suit that I put on for the fans. Says I'm just like everybody else. I'm just like he said, you've been doing really, really good. You're in training camp there, though. And I thought, oh man, I hope it doesn't mean that you're going to challenge like me. But there were a lot of people that I ran into during the course of the game, and a lot of them now who are arrogant, etc. At that time, one of the true greatest players in the history of the game, like there, showed me class and meekness and how you should conduct yourself. If a kid asks you for an autograph, take the time to give him the autograph. If a fan wants to talk with you, take the time to talk with that fan. If somebody wants to try your Super Bowl ring on, let them try your Super Bowl ring on. You're there. I admired him, and everyone who played for him or against him admired him. You will not be able to find anyone from our time who played who will say that he was anything except class. And believe me, there are a lot of guys who are not very classy.
Now, speaking of Super Bowl rings, whenever I talk to someone that has won a championship, I like to ask them to just show their ring. Do you mind showing your ring and talking about which Super Bowl that was from?
This one is from Super Bowl V.
Yep.
And of course, it doesn't have nearly as many diamonds as they have in the ones today.
Yeah. Now, I saw some film from Super Bowl V, and I saw you and a couple of the guys standing around each other because it came down to a field goal, and
Prayer works, man.
they showed you guys on the sideline standing around like you were praying that it went, that it went
What do
through.
you mean? Like we were praying? Prayer works. we were on our way to losing our second Super Bowl. Prayer. I mean, we could not have taken like that. I'm not ashamed to tell like anybody, man, you have to call on help sometimes. I know that the other team is calling on help. Like it's like too. You just have to send up a stronger prayer and a stronger petition than they do.
How did that feel to help give one of the greatest players in the NFL to help work towards winning a title with a player like Johnny Unitas and so many other players on your team to get over that hump and to win that? What does that feel like?
My goal since I was 6 years old, remember, with my grandpa, all that I heard without pressure was champion. This is the way the champion Jack walked. This is the way that he carried himself. Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali, good friend in years later. Champion Joe Louis, Sugar Ray Robinson, world's champion. I've been hearing that all of my life. So when we got there and we did win it, I was shocked and surprised to discover within that I hadn't done it for myself at all. I had done it to honor and recognize Gideon Johnson, my grandpa, Dr. Harold Tribble, and I'm telling you the truth, Dr. Gene Hooks, Bill Tate, Johnny Unitas, Don Shula, all of the people, Coach Chuck Noll, who was my linebacker coach, there before we went up to Pittsburgh, the fans of Baltimore and Wake Forest University. That's what's going through your mind then, or at least that's what was going through my mind. It was like I'm the first. I won coming out of Wake Forest University, backed by all of these people over the years. I am the first man of color out of any major university in the South to win a Super Bowl. I was the first one. I had to be, because I was the first one out of the major universities in the South that was drafted by the NFL and that played there. I never even thought about it. I never thought about it for myself. I thought about the fans for Baltimore and how happy they were, and the people who were there, and your teammates. I think it's a wonderful feeling still today when you deliver for your team, when you deliver for the team, for the people who believed in you, when you deliver for John McQueenie, who held illegally a bunch of the people to stop them from blocking me. Other players on the team that we had there. It's never about you in the end. Unfortunate we have some young guys today in sport and in entertainment who think that it's all about them. It's not all about us, that one person. It's about us as a people. It's about your people. It's about your history. And that's what I felt.
When you look at where college sports is, pro sports now, and you look back at Wake Forest history of having numerous first when it comes to bridging the gap, using athletics as a way to bridge the gap of inclusion and progress. What are your thoughts when you look back and you see coaches like Charlene Curtis, who's first African-American women's basketball coach in the ACC, Jim Caldwell, as well as Coach Bill Hayes and all of that. What are your thoughts when you look back and you see that?
As a matter of fact, this is one of our old buddies from Wake Forest, Jim Carter, who will be speaking on Butch Henry's behalf at the thing that you're doing. Your question again?
Oh, no, I was just saying, when you look at where Wake Forest was in terms
I've got you.
That, yeah.
All the first thing or whatever. Uncle Bob, which is what everybody calls me.
Yeah.
As chairman for our retired NFL Players Congress. Even the guys that are 90 years old call me Uncle Bob, and I consider it like an honor. Uncle Bob never bites his tongue. He tells the truth. With myself and Butch and Smitty, who was there with us for 1 year, I am fulfilled whenever I see or hear about Wake Forest's other first in the coaching ranks and the people that they brought on there. You know, the other players, the people like you that they have brought on to carry on the legacy. But make no mistake about it, I don't know how long it would have taken for Coach Caldwell, the other people that you named, et cetera. I don't know how long it would have taken had Wake Forest not did what it did in 1964. I don't know how long it would take. I'm very proud of them. One of the things that disappointed me tremendously, though, and he's a fine coach and I understand he's a fine man, is many years ago, because some people were afraid of me at Wake Forest because they knew that Uncle Bob does not bite his tongue. It took him about 30 or 40 years to put me in the Hall of Fame. And I know there were some people who were had pushed for it, and there were some people who literally said, to each other, because some of them called me, told me, we're afraid of what he might say if we bring him back.
So you brought up about November. So I wanted to share with Deacon Nation that if you don't mind, if we announce here that we are establishing the Kenneth Butch Henry and the Bob Grant Trailblazer Award at Wake Forest. And it is established to recognize and to honor those that have blazed the trail and are connected to Wake Forest athletics. And we're naming it after you and Mr. Henry. And it is the only award named after African Americans at Wake Forest University. And so how does that recognition of not just what the two of you have done, but those around you, how does that feel?
Excuse me, Kevin. Quite honestly, the way that I feel is I'm coming. I'm honored. I deserve it. Butch deserves it. Hooks, Tribble, and Tate deserve it. I am sorry that Butch Henry, because of his cognitive condition, can't be there to see that Wake Forest finally stood up for us. I'm also a little embarrassed because, as I told you, I didn't do it. Butch didn't do it on his own. I can right away off the top of my head with my teammates and the other people that were there then that made it possible. You know, those professors that supported us. I wish we could have everyone's name on it. You know, that made it possible, that made it happen. So with anything that I accept, my ego doesn't require me to just accept that, like, you're in my name, in my heart. And I hope that everyone knows, you know, that this award was made possible by a lot of different people, both white and black.
I know this has been an honor just to sit down and be able to spend this time with you, as it always is, and getting to know you and talking with you. And I really appreciate this. But I have one other question I want to ask you. What is your favorite Deacon moment on the field and off the field? Those moments that stick out to you and make you think of just Wake Forest and wonderful and just that experience.
Um, on the field, there were so many of them that I can't tell you a single like a moment, but I can tell you the game.
Okay.
With the top offensive lineman, and he was brutal, from Clemson University. When I was there, I think I was a sophomore. Wayne Mass, for consensus first team All-American. Harry Olszewski was no slouch and was an All-American there with Clemson. We played them, and I know they don't have any of the film left around. Even my coaches were kind of scared. Don't try to do too much against Wayne. He'll kill you. You know, he's like a bull. He'll knock you down and he'll gore you. And I'm thinking to myself on the bus ride over there, when this assistant coach is telling me this, what the heck is the matter with you? I'm Gid Johnson's boy. Wayne is in absolute trouble today. They had a film there that they used to keep. With elbow smashes, I think I just clean, flat out knockdowns from his position. The elbow smashes, like a boxer knocks somebody out. I probably had 15 of those. I had another 15 rushes, whereas he never touched me. I went invisible. We became friends afterwards. and after the game, but he was a bloody mess when that game was over. And at Wake Forest, with our coaches there, they just ran that film over and over and over and over again the next week. They got a real look at what Gid Johnson and my grandpa had created in that game, my sophomore year. Off the field, it was Chapel, they invite speakers in, the leader of the American Nazi Party. You can check in with the old gold and black paper. They've got records of that. It's probably on the internet something. The leader of the American Nazi Party, George Lincoln Rockwell, came there. We're in the middle of the civil rights movement. There are a lot of people, really angry people and stuff there. And we had a little confrontation with him that didn't go the way that everybody would have thought. He said some horrible things about the Jewish people and the black people and about people who were associated with the et cetera. So he's in Wake Chapel with his guards, and the chapel was full. They've got old pictures of it with the old gold and black, if you ask them to look it up. I learned to read. One of the things that we read with my grandpa when I was growing up was the United States Constitution. We read it, we read it, we read it again and again and again. I don't care what it's like. We're talking about what it's supposed to be like, where we're trying to go here. You got to know how you're going to go someplace. He used to say, if you don't know where you're going, this document will show you where we're going. Mr. Rockwell started in. He had some kind of rough things to say. I think he even mispronounced Negro a time or two in Wake Chapel. People were, they were kind of angry. They were kind of all over and stuff. So I grabbed an American flag from someplace and I went down front. And their pictures, they're on campus there, there. I took the flag and I went I walked down front. That fool never saw it coming. He never saw an American coming. I knew that this country was as much mine as it was any white man's or any black man. I grew up in the Marine Corps at Lejeune. My papa fought in World War One. I went down and some of the football players followed me down. And what I said to him, I said, I have one thing, I have something to say. And he looked and he stopped, and he had just gotten through saying that, black people were only good for things like being garbage men. And so I says, I don't know exactly where I'm going to end up. I says, but in whatever I do, I'm going to be the very best at it. And if a garbage man is what I end up being, I'm going to be the very best garbage man in America. He was kind of starting to get confused and stuff. And then I turned to to the student body in Wade there. And I says, but this man in our country has the right to express himself. We have free speech here. And I says, and if anybody tries to stop him from speaking, you're gonna have to come through me. Most of them on campus were kind of scared of me at that time anyway. I meant it. I meant it. I was there as an American. I was speaking as an American. I wanted to show all of them what an American believes and what an American citizen is really like. He was lost, and as the newspaper said in the old gold and black, he couldn't get his footing back like after that. He ended his little speech very early and got out of there. Now, in the Black community, and even in the Jewish community, some few people in town after that tried to call me an Oreo and said that, but there were, my worth grew on campus with a lot of intelligent people and around the state from letters that I got from people who understood what I had said and what I had done there. So with, a few people of our own race calling me an Oreo because they didn't understand, they couldn't grasp it. I wasn't going out and burning any damn thing like it down. I was going to use that Constitution. And I still use it like today, and I refuse to let anybody, I don't care who they are, I refuse to let anybody tell me that this isn't my country. You just try it if you want to. I'm not leaving. I don't care what anybody says. And my grandpa was a Garveyite, but he was never thinking about leaving.
This is fascinating stories and fascinating moments, not just in your life, but just a part of Wake Forest's history and American history. And I appreciate you opening up a part of your life and sharing it with us. And Deacon Nation appreciates you. I appreciate you for all the things that you've done that has opened doors for myself and so many others. There's a proverb I heard. It says, sometimes you have to plant a tree that you'll never sit up under.
Yes. Yes.
And I really appreciate you planting the trees that you've planted so I can sit up under.
Well, I'll tell you what, you guys who followed us,
Yeah,
you carried on well. Otherwise, it wouldn't have meant anything at all. And with the kids that are young men, I'm sorry, with the young men that are there, I was watching the game against Syracuse there. I knew they were going to win it. I just got to tell you, I knew that they were going to win it. And nobody wins them like you all. But the way that they're playing now, they're playing team ball.
Mm-hmm.
And you win a lot there. I would leave our offensive lineman with one little thing. Coach Clausen and I, don't get like you're angry with me. If your man beats you and he's on the way to our quarterback, don't stand there and look at him. You try to go get into a race with him to the quarterback, and if he hits our quarterback, you hit him again still. Like you're there, but I was watching the game and I saw some of our offensive linemen, in a few instances, they missed their block and they just kind of stood up and turned around and let their man go directly for our quarterback.
Yeah.
That's not the way that you'll do it. If you lose him, go and get him. You know where he's going. You know just turn around. You can close your eyes.
Yeah.
If that quarterback, but when he gets there, make him pay.
Again, I thank you. And this has been awesome an awesome experience. And again, I appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to share your experience. Um, any advice you would give to a current student athlete at Wake Forest right now? Some parting wisdom and advice.
Absolutely. And whatever you do, I don't want 100%, there's no 100, in whatever you do, and only you know what you think your limits like you are. Always do better than your best. Don't tell me I can't do better than my best. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Always do better than your best in everything that you do while you're at Wake Forest and after you leave Wake Forest.
Well, I can't think of a better way to end things at all. Uncle Bob, thank you so much.